Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Train Sim World, and welcome to the Tees Valley DLC. So, this is a long scenario, this is a 60-minute scenario. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole thing, but we'll at least get started. So first thing is, this is a Class 3-7. I believe it is the Class 3-7/5RF, if I'm being as accurate as I can be. We're in Lackenby, and we're getting ready to take these steel coils to Corby, if I understand it all correctly. So we'll get this closed. There we go. Climb aboard, sit in the driver's seat. You got it. Set the master key to on. Now, I do know this. You can't do that sitting down. You have to stand up and lean over the top. All right. Sit back down. Set the loco brake to 100%. All right, there we go. Set the reverser to forward. There's that. Set the train brake to running. There's that one. Set the loco brake to 0. Take it easy out of the steelworks. You've got a heavy train to get moving. Watch the speed limit and let's get on our way. You got it. A little wiper here. There we go. I said a little wiper here. There we go. Right about like so. Apply some throttle. Glad to. Do we have our lights on? Headlights are on. And we are rolling. Almost. Almost. Come on. There it is. I'm trying to go slow, as they said. 1.8 miles to South Bank. Let's back this off a little bit and quickly just confirm that all our points are set properly to get us at least out of the yard. Like so, like so, like so, and like so. Ah, there's one. So move that. That's good. That's good. Right. So how's everybody doing? It is Tuesday for me, Wednesday for you. It's been a while since we've done some train videos. It's been probably a couple of months. And I forgot how much fun this sim is. It really, really is. Do we want our cab light? The cab light is on. There we go. Cab light is off. It really is a cool sim. It's, I guess I was, I declared a little bit of a hiatus with Dovetail. I don't know. I feel like, even though you're certainly not compelled to buy DLC when they release it, a lot of it is, you know what I mean? It's interesting. It looks like fun stuff. You want to get it. You want to have it. And when they release a lot of it sort of in a short period of time, as they did, it feels like, you know, it's a couple $100 you're trying to lift out of my pocket, Dovetail. I don't know how I feel about that. And so I just sort of pulled back from the game. But it is, it has got to be the most, like, if you think Truck Sim is slow and relaxing, man, this game is, it's something else. And the reason we're doing this long scenario, so Tees Valley, I don't know where to begin. I don't know my British rail history as well as some people. Let's slow this down a little bit. It's going a little too fast for me. There you go. It's a little better. I don't know British rail history as well, obviously, as some people do. Some people are really, really into it. I think that is super cool. But I'm not. I just know a little bit, and I also know what I like. All right, let's hop out here. Take a look. I think that's the coolest. In fact, I think that's cool enough to make a little screenshot. Beautiful. There we go. I know what I know. I know what I like. And I think these historic and vintage UK routes are pretty cool, I have to say. This one is up in the north of England. Tees Valley is up on the northeast coast, if I'm saying that right. And this represents Darlington to Saltburn by the Sea. It's a 27-mile route. And I guess it's mostly industrial, but there is a passenger service available as well. The route comes with, the DLC comes with 3 locos. We're going to check our map again here quickly just to confirm. That's good. That's good. That's good. Anything else further down? No, we're okay for a minute. So it comes with 3 locos. It comes with this Class 3.7. It comes with a Class 101 diesel mechanical passenger service, which is kind of new. I know there is one of those in another DLC, but I've never really spent any time with it. But essentially, it's a loco that you have to shift gears in. That's new. That's different. Very cool. And it also comes with the Class 08, which is a little shunting engine. In the US, we call it a switcher. And it looks very similar to the Class 09, which is in one of the other sort of historical UK DLCs. So it does come with 3 locos, and it's only a 27-mile route. You know, I say only 27 miles. I don't know that gross distance is really the most important thing. I know on the Long Island Railroad DLC, there was a lot of people were disappointed that it wasn't longer and that it didn't go all the way out to Montauk, to the tip of Long Island. I don't know what can you do? What can you do? So I guess it's quality over quantity. Now, I know on the forums people really get on Dovetail about bugs and inconsistencies and historical inaccuracies, technical inaccuracies. I'm not able to spot that stuff. So for me, I have to say it's not, necessarily a deal breaker, but I know for some people it's quite a big deal. Hang on, I'm going to hop outside because I just saw, can't tell if that's smoke or flame coming from those stacks. Huh? It's cool, whatever it is, a little detail. I'm not able to spot those historical details and the bugs and things like that. They really don't, they don't bother me. The only thing that bothers me is when you can't finish a scenario, when something is bugged out in that way. But as far as, this sound is not accurate, or, the sequence of events to make a certain thing happen in a certain loco is not accurate, because I don't know what it's supposed to be, I don't know if it's wrong. So for me, it's just sort of a, as long as I can finish the scenario, I'm digging it. So for me personally, these are, I hate spending money. I do. I really do. So seeing all those DLC come out at once and seeing what the total tag would be if you, oh, okay, what are we doing here? Are we continuing to head forward, or are we going to back it up at some point? I suspect we're gonna back up and hook up to another group of cars, another consist. Okay. Hey man, whatever they need from us, that's what we're here to do. We're on the clock, yo. So this one and what's the other one? The SW1000R, which is, I guess that DLC is just a switching loco for the Northeast Corridor DLC. And I find that to be yard work. I mean, I do enjoy it. It just really doesn't make for very good videos because it's a lot of hopping in and out, and it's a lot of tapping the desk, which can concentrating. A lot of mouse and keyboard, and you can get some thumping on the audio from that. So they're fun to do, but they're not necessarily fun to watch, as a lot of things in life are. So yeah, man, I figured we'd just do one of these, and we got some time. I think we have nearly an hour. So what are we going to talk about? I don't know. I'll think of something. On the ETS side, just a little break here. On the ETS side, everything seems to be released and running smooth and proper for American Truck Sim. On the ETS side, no word yet, at least that I've seen, on Road to the Black Sea. No word yet on whether there will be a complimentary equipment DLC when that is released. But 1.35 is in full release, what I tend to think of as full retail. That's ready to go. No word on Pro Mods yet. And for the most part, I think all the serious mods have been patched up to 1.35. So if you were waiting to roll forward, for the most part, I think those mods are good to go. Now, what I've been doing is I've been gradually pulling things out of my mod folder. Third-party mods, I'm trying to get down to 100% workshop mods. And what I find is if I have something like an engine pack mod, concentrating, if I have something like an engine pack mod, what I will need to do is go in and swap those engines out, make sure that I don't have any of those motors in any trucks, and then deactivate the mod, and then delete it. And I feel like if I do it that way, I can gradually get rid of those things. And ideally, like I said, my mod folder would be empty other than the Jazzy Cat packs. And I think that's where I'm headed. I think that's where I would like to be at for simplicity, for consistency, stability, all those things. I think I would like to be maybe not 100% workshop mods, but as close as possible. As close as possible. So working on that as well, and I guess to that end, I have found some engine packs and motor packs in the workshop that are as good or better as what I have in my mod folder, so I'm transitioning those over, and at some point, I will be able to get rid of everything in my mod folder. Should be, I don't know, maybe another 3 weeks to a month to go through that process, as far as swapping out mods. So that is a cool thing. It's simplifying my life, trying to make things a little better and a little easier. And let's get some brakes going here just to be safe, because we've got quite a bit of weight on right now. All right, that might have been a bit early. Safety first. And so that's ATS, ETS. On the farm sim side, we're coming up on the mod contest. I'm really looking forward to that. I am really enjoying Meadow Grove in the same way that I enjoyed Holzer Map. It's just a very, I don't know, it's just a very immersive map. There's a lot to do. There's great balance on the map, and it's just, I'm having a blast with it. So we'll be on Meadow Grove at least until the mod contest, so at least another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And at that point, we can decide whether, well, if there's a good map in the mod contest. I'm sure there will be. If there's a good map in the mod contest, we'll go that route. If there is not, stay on Meadow Grove. We'll figure something out. And so that is Farm Sim. And then Train Sim, probably not going to do a ton of videos, only because, as much as I like the sim, it's not necessarily like, oh, they're telling us to go. Are we? Hang on, I'm getting ready to floor it here, because I'm not sure if they are. They're not telling us to stop. They were, but now they're not. We had a red light, now we don't. I think we're just going to keep rolling. And I don't think we're going to back up to that other string. What do we got? All right. Here we go. So we need that. We need that. We need this. Yeah, for some reason, right, the way that this was set up with the other, and now the highlights are gone. No, they're there. For some reason, I thought we were doing something over here, but we're not. Okay. Let's do it. Wheel slip. No good. That's better. Come on. There it is. So that is, yeah, that's the trucks, the farm, the trains, racing. What else is going on with racing? iRacing just switched over to a new track in a season. It's week 3 of season 3 2019. We switched over to all the new tracks last night, about 10 o'clock my time. So we do have that going on. I am really enjoying iRacing, but man, it is no joke. And I'll tell you, I had a shower thought. Hang on. Make sure we're on the right track here, so to speak. Yep, looks good. And then right down here, all the way across. Yep, looks good. I had a shower thought, and this was interesting, kind of an epiphany. I was thinking about AI in gaming, and I realized that all we've ever wanted as gamers was to play against each other. That's all we've wanted, right? For however many years it is we've been gaming, that's all we wanted. Now, it used to be back in the day, pre-internet and pre-AI, all you could do was play against each other, right? You and your pals playing video games. And even going back to something like the Atari 2600 that had, two controllers, one for me, one for you, will fight each other. Pong, things like that. You're playing your buddies. And we sort of got away from that as AI got better and better. It's certainly more convenient because you don't need to coordinate with your friends. You can just, you know what I'm saying? You play anytime you want. But I feel like starting maybe 7 or 8 years ago, as internet became faster and faster and faster and more reliable, and as developers began to get more and more aggressive with netcode, and I'll tell you about that in a second. If you don't know what netcode is, I'll tell you in a second. But as developers began to get more and more aggressive with the idea that we could do very complex things, very fast activities in real time, I think the idea that we could all play together, that became viable. It's that's possible now, and so let's work with it. Let's go with it. And developers have. iRacing is the biggest rush, the biggest thrill that I have ever had playing any video game in my life ever. My heart pounds harder the last lap or two of a race when I'm up in the front, contention, you got some fool right behind you. If you brake too hard, they're going to take you out. So you're sort of driving more aggressively than you want to. Uh-oh. Hang on. You're sort of driving more aggressively than you want to, or than I want to. Hang on. Oh, dear. Give me some brakes. There we go. There we go. I'm driving more aggressively than I want to because A, I'm trying to hold on to the position, and B, I'm genuinely worried that the person behind me is going to accidentally take me out if they try to late brake, right? Hang on. We got a little overlap here between our braking and our throttle. There we go. But you know what I'm talking about. Those last couple laps. Oh, man. It's exciting. It is extremely exciting. I've never had that kind of a thrill in any other video game scenario. And it's because you're racing other people. It means something. Who cares if AI takes you out? It's annoying, but it doesn't get you personally because there's nothing personal about it. But if a person takes you out, or if you beat another person who's obviously like gunning for you, it just means something. It means more than beating AI. And I feel like that's all we've ever wanted. It really is just to compete with one another. So we're there, we really are. And I was thinking about Train Sim, which is not a competitive game by any means. It's a very chill game. But I thought, this is going to get to the point where you've got other trains moving around a yard, and there's other people driving each of them, in the same way that flight sims have traffic now, right? And ATC, and right, you know what I'm talking about. It's a sim, right? You get your plane going, you get it prepped, you get pre-flighted, you file your flight plan, and you've got a real person sitting somewhere acting as an air traffic controller for a bunch of sim gamers. That's amazing. It really is. It's amazing to me because I can remember in Microsoft Flight Sim the first few times that they had AI ATC, and it was such a big deal because now rather than just doing whatever you wanted or trying to restrict yourself to some kind of a flight plan, now you had ATC telling you what to do. Same thing can totally work in Train Sim, where you've got a dispatch, right? You've got a yard master, and there's trains moving all over the place, and different people are driving them, and it's such a cool thing. It really, really is. And the thing that makes it possible is super fast, reliable internet. That's how we're able to do this. And when they were inventing the internet, all them years ago, I don't think they were planning or expecting or anticipating the things that we've done with it. But man, this is the stuff we've done with it. You know, to be able to game together is really cool. Netcode. If you're not familiar with netcode, here's the way netcode works. At least, well, the best example that I can think of is iRacing, but I'm sure it extends out to other sims and other games. But when you have a lot of things happening in a sim very quickly, there's inevitably a little bit of lag in the internet. It's just, you know, it's your ping. Everybody got a ping. And let's say your ping is 55 milliseconds, which is, it's less than a tenth of a second. But yeah, it's a 20th of a second. Wow, that's not, you know, imagine 20 cycles in a second and how long each of them would last. That's nothing. Until you take two race cars going 150 miles an hour and they're 6 feet apart. And at that point, the amount of distance that you can cover in a 20th of a second could be the distance between those two cars, and then you touch. Or don't you? So what netcode does is it's a little bit of voodoo, but my understanding is it sort of guesses and anticipates, and you know, it sort of plays fast and loose with reality. We are going to Eagles Cliff now. It's basically, netcode is essentially a crystal ball that continually anticipates where people are going based on where they are. And in its best applications, when it works best, it allows two cars to race together and the distance between them is less than the distance represented by their ping, if that makes sense. That's when it's working. When it's not working, and you see this sometimes in broadcast coverage of iRacing events, two cars will get close to one another. They won't touch, but one of them will spin out of control as though they had been bumped, right? And that's netcode essentially guessing that those cars were going to touch and then sort of making it happen, if that makes sense. Let's check our points, make sure we're still good to go. And I believe, yep, all the way through here, all the way through here. Yeah, for another few miles, I think we're good. But you can have netcode. You can have netcode in shooting games. You can have netcode in RPG games. Anything really where things are happening quickly enough that the software needs to sort of guess where you're going to be to overcome ping and make sure everything plays smoothly. And even that, you know, I've heard netcode described as witchcraft. It's voodoo, man. It is legitimately voodoo because it works and it shouldn't, but somehow it does for the most part. Like I said, check out well, you could probably just go to YouTube and type in like netcode funnies or something, netcode mistakes, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But for the most part, it does get it right, and it works somehow. And those things, all those things, that's what's making it possible for us to play together, for us to game together, and that's just so cool. It really, really is. And yeah, it's a fantastic time to be gaming. It is. I'm glad I came back into it when I did. You know, they talk about generations of gaming. First gen was in the 1970s, early 1970s, Pong and that sort of thing, like I was saying earlier. And then the first generation of consoles, like the Atari 2600, that was Gen 2, was it not? And then they had the big flop when everybody started making games and they were just horrible and people sort of gave up on gaming. Or it's difficult for us now to even think of that as gaming, but at the time that was gaming. And people got sick of it, stopped buying games, and there was kind of a renaissance, and people decided to go in different directions with consoles, and et cetera, et cetera. So Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, I don't know. I mean, I hear when they're talking about ray tracing games, they're saying these are next-gen games, and you know, AAA games in 2019, 2020, and and where things are headed, bringing us out of the uncanny valley when it comes to faces, rendering faces and things like that, lighting, subsurface scattering, all that stuff, and AI. I really do think that in another probably 5 years, I think we will begin to see games that are indistinguishable from reality. It's getting close now. It's not quite there yet. If you capture an image in a game, if you capture a screenshot and throw the right filters on it and smooth it just right, if you got a good card rendering well, you can sort of make that look like reality. As long as the person looking doesn't look too close, you can sort of pass that off. I think in another few years, you will easily be able to pass that off, and we'll get to a point where even someone who is looking, right, who wants to bust you, they won't be able to tell the difference. It's like a visual Turing test, but we'll get there. We'll get there, and then couple that with VR and some of the tactile enhancements. I've been looking at butt shakers and transducer chair pads, and it's there are a lot of different ways to trick yourself into thinking that what you're looking at is real, right? Because your eyes, more than anything else, I don't know if you're into like biology, anthropology, evolution, that sort of stuff, but the human eye, the amount of data that the human eye collects is just ridiculous. We are extremely visual, and that cuts both ways. It's why we're at the top of the food chain, right? We're the apex hunter of this corner of the universe, but it's also a drawback in some ways. Because we are so visual, it's very easy for us to fool ourselves, because things that come in via the eye, information that comes in via the eye and the inner ear, it's like we can't get out in front of it. We can't head that off. If we get enough data, if we get enough input via the eye, your brain is like, screw it, man, I'm just going with it. It seems real to me. So we need to be mindful of that for bad stuff, but the good stuff, things like gaming, sure, we just go with it. If we can fool our eye, we're 90% of the way there as far as immersion. So we'll get there. We will get there. What else is going on? That was racing. I'm trying to think what else. Man, I would love to bring some flight sim to the channel. I really would, but like with racing, I'm trying to figure out the right way to do it. I think DCS may be the way to go. I've checked out War Thunder. It's just not for me. It's not for me. It's cool, and I think it's going to continue to get better, but it's just not for me. It's a little too frantic, It's just not for me. Moment, please. Make sure everything's cool down here. Man, are you seeing some of these yards? This is the entire Tees Valley map, but this has got some, like I was saying earlier, quality over quantity, man. 27 miles, but they fit a lot in there. Right. The hell was I talking about? Oh, Flight Sim. Yeah, War Thunder is not for me. It is cool. It's a very cool game. It's just not for me. I think DCS is going to be the direction I go in, and for that to happen, I'm going to need a faster machine, because the system I'm on now really cannot render DCS in any kind of a meaningful way. Sip of coffee. And the other thing is, you're going to need a really good joystick, and I think you're probably going to want to be on VR for DCS. It's these cockpits now. It's a combination of a good joystick with 1 million buttons, and you're going to be using your mouse a lot, because so many of the little buttons and gizmos and doodads in the cockpit are active. So it's the sort of thing where you're looking around, right? Left hand on the throttle, right hand on the stick. All those buttons are available for your quick features, things that you need straight away. But then look down at the instruments, look down at all those buttons and switches in the cockpit, and there's some things that you simply run out of buttons and you can't map them all. And when that happens, you need to put your hand on your mouse and manually click that switch. And being able to look with the hat and then look back up with the hat, try to look around with the hat, I think it's just impossible. I think for something like DCS, particularly in the Mustang or the Spitfire or one of the MEs, where you're constantly looking around, you know, in a modern aircraft, you spend a lot of time looking at the multifunction displays. In a Spitfire, you spend a lot of time looking over your shoulder. So I feel like VR is the way to go for that, or at the very least, eye tracking or head tracking or something. And I don't have that set up at the moment. I went with Track Noir, which is Track No IR. It's a very cool system. It tracks your face and your eyes without there's no little buttons on your hat, right? No little reflectors. Nothing like that. It's a cool system, and it is accurate. Surprisingly, it is accurate. However, it is contingent on a camera on, well, your monitor, and whether that's a built-in camera on a laptop monitor or whether it is an aftermarket camera on an aftermarket monitor. You've got to have it directly in front of you, pointing right at your face. So when I was on the laptop, that did work. I'm off the laptop now. Well, I mean, everything is still running off the laptop, but I'm on a big monitor now on my desk, so I would need to get another camera and put it on my monitor. And the problem is, strange as it is to say this, I'm out of USB. I've got no more. I've got 3 USB 3.0 ports on my laptop. One of them is a backup drive that has to stay directly into a USB 3.0 port because it's moving so much data. The second port on my laptop is used by my wheel, which it is highly recommended that you plug your wheel directly into a USB port and not a hub. However, everybody says that. Everybody says that. It's like every mod says, we recommend placing this mod with the highest priority. Yeah, of course you do. Everybody else says the same thing. And then the third USB 3.0 port on my laptop is a powered 7-port USB 3.0 hub. And like I said, at that point, it is beginning to get a little cluttered because through that hub, first off, I've got the dongle for my headset running through there. So that's a good amount of data. I've got my gamepad, my G13, my keyboard. G13 is a gaming panel. My keyboard is a gaming keyboard. So that's it's not the most data, it's not the most signal, but it's a bit through there. Bottom line is, you begin to get just the tiniest bits of interference, just the tiniest bits of lag when you have that many things running through a hub. So I don't know, because essentially I would need to plug a hub into my hub, and it's all bets are off at that point. No more guarantees of anything being reliable when you've got a hub into a hub. That's like a copy of a copy, man. Obviously, quality is going to begin to break down. So I don't even know where I would plug a flight stick in at this point. I don't know where I would plug another camera in. And cameras are pretty, they send a lot of data. So again, trying to run camera data and headset data through the same hub, I feel like I would just be looking for trouble, causing myself trouble. So we'll see. We'll figure it all out as we do. And I think, you know what, let's do this. Let's just go to Eagles Cliff. I think that's going to be close to 30 minutes. Yeah, let's go to Eagles Cliff, and I will stop the video there. And next time, well, I don't know. Maybe there won't be a next time. Maybe this will be the end for us. I don't know. Let me know what you think of this video, because I like I said, I like these train videos, but I know they can be, you know, we're just sitting in a train going 10 miles an hour. You into that? You like that? I don't know. If you do, let me know. I'm happy to do more of them for you, but I don't want to spam you with things that you're not really enjoying anyway. So let's go to Eagles Cliff. We'll call it there for the week. for Train Sim World. And if we decide to do another one, I don't know, maybe we'll do some yard work next week in the Class 08 or the SW1000. I actually prefer that one as far as little switching missions. Are we good on points? I think we are. Here we go. So yeah, it's Train Sim World. It works for me. It works so much better for me than the Train Simulator franchise, which I know people love, and I'm not putting it down or anything. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. But I think what Dovetail did to run the two sims parallel, I think that's a fantastic idea. That you've got Train Sim World on Unreal, and this is sort of the future, but they've definitely maintained the Train Simulator franchise, and I guess they're going to continue to bring it forward. They brought it forward at least to 2019. I don't know if they're going to have a 2020. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I think they're covering both ends of the spectrum at that point. Good on them. Good on them. I don't know how far we're going, like all the way, because this is going to put us here. I mean, we don't have that much further to go. Yeah, we're going to call it an Eagle Cliff. Eagles Cliff. Plural Eagles. We're going to call it an Eagles Cliff. And then I'll see how far this route goes. I may keep recording off camera and just, well, not, that wouldn't make sense. Not recording off camera, you know what I mean. End this video, continue recording, continue sitting in my office talking to myself, and then next week post that as well. I don't know, man. I have very little idea what I'm doing most of the time. I just kind of wing it. It works for me. All right, so we got... Okay, got some yellow lights, no reds yet. Man, this game, if you're not watching those red lights, I know that sounds ridiculous if you are a person who is able to like monitor that efficiently. It's like, really? You ran a red light and then something bad happened? What are you, stupid? Maybe not so as you'd notice. But yeah, I get so fixated on like speed limit and points and various other things, I will sometimes completely forget that there's a red signal. And not only do I not see it in the real world looking out the windscreen, but then I don't even see it up in the top right corner. Just bust right through it like an idiot. Oh, scenario has ended. You have failed. Got to start again. It's not bad when it happens early. It's bad when it happens late. Although the game does have there's an autosave, because I know it'll say, do you want to go back to like the last point where things were good? Uh-oh, hang on. This is what I'm talking about. And we're really not slowing down the way I'd like to. There we go, that's a little better. Now, I also don't want to take it down to like 0 miles an hour well ahead of the place where we need to stop. How are we doing on? Oh yeah, I think that's gonna happen anyway. Man, when you go to 100% brakes on this whip, it is like, it's stopping. It is stopping. There we go. Where's our sander? Instrument light dimmer. No, man, I need our sander. Where's our sander? There we go. There we go. Ooh, okay. Yeah, still not used to the brakes. It's, I guess it really gives you an indication of like why technology moves forward, because this train is from the 70s, 80s, I want to say. And you compare the brakes in this to like the contemporary trains, the modern day trains, diesel electric and or full electric, and just how efficiently they stop. And you know, you understand why technology moves forward, because it had to be like a little bit nerve-wracking trying to bring one of these rigs to a stop. And if Train Sim World releases any steam, you know what I'm saying? That's the next thing, is like driving one of those things. Oi, they are a handful. People love them though. For me, it's a bit of a novelty. I enjoy it, but it's not something I would want to do all the time. Now, I use all the assists when I drive Steam. There's some people that do everything manually, like their water level and their firebox and their boiler pressure, and right? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Right. We got here. We're just kind of creeping in here. I know. You know what a cautious fellow I am. I don't want to, obviously I don't want to bust this red light and have the scenario fail after we come this far. However, I'm going to stop up here and we'll end the video here. I will, maybe I'll just keep recording and post the rest of it next week. I don't know. People are looking better, I have to say. People are looking a lot more realistic in some of the patches that they've put out for the last couple DLC. And the game is definitely, they're optimizing. I can tell they're continuing to optimize it, and I appreciate that as well. Because it wasn't just me. The day that CSX Heavy Haul dropped, it wasn't just me saying, holy smokes, this game is, you're killing me with the FPS. Ready? We're going up just the tiniest bit of hill here, too. Oh, come on. Game. The last 200 feet. There we go. Now, what will happen sometimes is, I've sat at red signals for like 10 minutes, particularly on that, on the route in Maryland. I've sat at red signals for, feels like forever. And then other ones, hang on. It stopped right here, right about here. Stop right here. Right. And then other ones, just as you're creeping up to it, it turns green, tells you to go. Right. Yarm Viaduct is currently undergoing structural inspection, so all services south are being diverted via Darlington. Okay. I'll sort that out, and we'll take a look next week. Folks, thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Train Sim World. This is the Tees Valley line. See you next time. Take care now.